Meu amigo e minha amiga, hoje nós teremos um papo espetacular com um dos maiores fotógrafos do rock de todos os tempos, Weiss. E nós teremos ainda uma série de convidados que vão participar desse papo. Dee Snider, Charlie Benante, que você sabe muito bem que é o batera do Anthrax, e um outro batera sensacional, que é o Carmine Appice. Então, meu amigo, se prepara, você vai para uma viagem muito bacana agora. Opa, meu amigo e minha amiga, vou interromper um pouquinho essa nossa conversa, porque eu tenho uma coisa muito legal para mostrar para vocês, uma dica sensacional. Olha isso aqui. Olha isso. Deixa eu mostrar aqui para vocês. Olha que livro espetacular. Olha isso. Tá vendo? Olha o tamanho, olha o luxo desse livro aqui, ó. É A Década do Rock, do fotógrafo WEISSGUY Weiss, um dos mais renomados profissionais da fotografia do rock de todos os tempos. E ele acaba de lançar esse livro aqui, luxuosíssimo, com mais de 700 fotos de várias bandas. Van Halen, Aerosmith, Motley Crue, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Kiss, Ozzy Osbourne, Bon Jovi e muitos outros. Além disso, esse livro aqui traz entrevistas inéditas com toda essa turma e histórias contadas pelo próprio Weiss, que viveu essa época de uma maneira muito intensa. Para quem quer entender por que essa turma redefiniu os padrões roqueiros dos anos 80, cara, é uma obra imprescindível. E você pode adquirir esse livro com o mesmo método que a gente sempre usa e oferece a você, meu amigo e minha amiga que acompanha o nosso canal. Basta você clicar no link aqui embaixo ou no QR Code que você está vendo aí na tela e preencher o cupom de desconto com Regis Tadeu Indica. Tudo junto. E você vai adquirir esse livro aqui, cara, com 20% de desconto. Exclusivo para quem acompanha o nosso canal, tá bom? Então não esquece. Clica no link aqui embaixo ou no QR Code, preenche o cupom de desconto com Regis Tadeu Indica, tudo junto, e você vai ter esse livro aqui, cara. Olha que sensacional. Olha o Ozzy. Pois é, você vai adquirir essa obra maravilhosa com 20% de desconto, tá bom? Recado tá dado. Vamos em frente com o papo. Pois é, meu amigo e minha amiga, hoje nós teremos entrevistas sensacionais. Aliás, nós teremos uma entrevista sensacional e teremos vários convidados participando dela. Obviamente que você sabe como é que vai fazer a sua inscrição aqui no canal, você já sabe muito bem como faz, né, aquela coisa toda. E eu tenho aqui a presença, como sempre, do nosso grande amigo Paulo BARÓN. Boa tarde, Paulo.
Boa tarde, Regis. Estamos
Tudo bem?
aqui, né?
Exatamente. E nós temos o grande prazer de conversar com Weiss, um dos mais renomados fotógrafos da história do rock de todos os tempos, né? E ele, como você sabe muito bem, teve aliás, o seu livro, que é espetacular, A Década do Rock, lançado aqui no Brasil. E é um livro simplesmente sensacional. Você que acompanha, olha as fotos. Eu estou pegando aleatoriamente aqui, olha. Olha isso. E você sabe muito bem que a gente tem comercializado esse livro aqui para vocês com um desconto, como você sabe. E nós hoje estamos conversando exatamente com o autor desse livro aqui. E, meu amigo e minha amiga, você que fugiu das aulas de inglês, você vai ter a ajuda da Candice Soldatelli, nossa querida tradutora aqui, que vai passar para você o que a gente está conversando aqui, tá bom? Bem-vindo, então, Candice.
Obrigada, Regis. Hi,
Beleza,
Mark.
então. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a real honor. It's a pleasure to us to talk with you. And I would like to start this talk speaking about the Decade Rocket. Is one of the most amazing photo books of all times, in my opinion. You were behind some of those legendary moments in the 80s, but I presume you were inspired for the lush visions of the 70s, like Queen, David Bowie, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, Kiss, Alice Cooper. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I kind of, you know, hung out with all these guys that I photographed, because we were all cut from the same cloth. You know, we all love Zeppelin and Queen and David Bowie, and you know, and it's like we brought that to the 80s. So I feel like the 80s really was a souped up version of the 70s, and it just, everything got fine tuned. And you know, when MTV came in, and then the arenas and the gold records were just flying all over the place, and the magazines, it was embraced. And it was just that decade, the 80s, was just the perfect storm for success in a band that has good songs, good looks, good attitudes, and just rock and roll, what rock and roll was supposed to be about.
A pergunta que foi feita, né, que o livro de fotografia, né, que abrange toda a década do rock dos anos 80, que é uma década lendária, mas de certa forma ele foi inspirado também, ele teve uma influência dos anos 70, né? Então o Regis perguntou para o Mark como que houve essa influência dos anos 70. E o Mark respondeu que ele convivia com todos esses cantores famosos, artistas fenomenais dos anos 70, e eles estavam na mesma inspiração, né? Eles buscavam a mesma inspiração, eles gostavam das mesmas músicas, então era uma década exuberante, os anos 70, em termos musicais, e acabou entrando na década de 80 como se fosse uma tempestade perfeita, né? Então, quem tivesse a melhor música, o melhor look, o melhor som, sem dúvida ia fazer sucesso. Também o Mark falou que naquela época começou a MTV, né, e houve muitos discos de ouro do rock, e também a questão das revistas especializadas eram muito populares, então ele usou essa expressão, tempestade perfeita para o rock.
Paulo, vamos alternando a pergunta, tá? Agora é você, por favor.
Okay. Mark, I saw that your influence is in the rock and roll, but at the beginning, you start also working for a men's magazine. So that mixture of you taking pictures of some girls could make you like the good flavor for you, make like a good friends, like I have the girls and you have the rock, and let's mix it together.
Well, that's what rock and roll is all about. I mean, you know, it's like, that's kind of why I got into this. You know, there used to be a band called White Tiger, which used to play in the area with Twisted Sister, actually. And they used to sell out 3,000 seaters locally. And they played five sets a night and 5 days a week. And all the girls would come. And then I was like, you know, that's where I met all the girls. And then when the band started touring and I was in the photo pit, I'd be in there and I'd be the closest thing to these girls, you know, so they would always like, you know, grab my ass or, you know, give me a note to give to this one and that one. So I was kind of like the in-between guy. And of course, when I started working for WE magazine in 1982, which we have a chapter on, bands like Ozzy and Motley Crue and Carmine Appice, we did him with some naked women, you know, and I mean, you know, when I first met Motley Crue and I brought some of the models that we were going to pose with them, we were best friends. I mean, you know, we got kicked out of the club. We went to the Rainbow. There was some action under the table, like it was in the movie. I mean, you know, it was fun rock and roll. I was in my early 20s. They were in their early 20s. You know, we were all brothers, and it was just a decade of debauchery, I guess you could say.
Então, o Paulo perguntou, ele deu uma informação, né, que o Mark começou a carreira dele com revistas masculinas, né, tirando fotos de garotas. E aí o Paulo perguntou se, de repente, essa relação que ele tinha com as garotas ajudou ele a se aproximar do pessoal do rock. E o Mark concorda que, sem dúvida, né, foi um aspecto importante, porque ele trazia as garotas, eles tinham o rock e eles se entendiam todos. E até ele comentou que o Twisted Sister tocava naquela época 5 sets por noite, 5 noites por semana, e as garotas estavam todas lá. E o Mark servia de intermediário entre o pessoal do rock and roll e as gatinhas, né? E ele também comentou que o Motley Crue também, ele convivia com eles lá no famoso bar Rainbow, né? Ele levava as garotas para lá e tinha uma ação. Enfim, ele funcionava como um intermediário entre as lindas mulheres e o pessoal do rock.
And I also managed to get a few good photos too out of it too.
Ele brincou agora que ele disse que no meio disso, dessa diversão toda, ele ainda conseguiu tirar boas fotos. Sure.
Congresso de Music Business. Tudo o que você precisa entender para transformar sua arte em business. Faça parte agora do maior congresso virtual de show business. Em esse congresso, eu convidei a grandes amigos que já fizeram parte da minha história no show business. Vocês vão ter aqui pessoas que são donos de casas de shows. Vocês vão ter aqui artistas renomeados mundialmente. Eu convidei muitas pessoas importantes. Trouxe todas elas. Com eles, nós saberemos o caminho certo que deve ser trilhado. Quais foram seus acertos? Quais foram seus erros? E como que eles deram volta? E como se criaram as estratégias? Você não pode ficar de fora.
let me find one of these one pictures, okay? Because you have many of those. Let me this one. This is with like that one.
Oh yeah, that was my old girlfriend actually. Joe was really nervous. He's like, "You sure it's okay to touch her?" I said, "Yeah, it's fine. You know, do whatever you want. You know, we share. You know." And that was fun. You know, that was fun. And I remember Joe telling me later on, like maybe 10 years ago, thanking me for that photo shoot, because that photo shoot put the nail on his coffin to his marriage. And then he met his wife after his second wife after that. So he thanked me for that, kinda.
Então, o Paulo mostrou a foto que tem o Joe do Aerosmith, e a moça que está na foto era a namorada do Mark, né? E aí, na época, até o Mark comentou que o Joe ficou um pouquinho nervoso, mas 10 anos depois, ele agradeceu muito o Mark por essa sessão de fotos, que foi essa sessão de fotos que colocou o prego no caixão do casamento dele, e ele ficou livre da esposa.
Mark, your photos tell us a kind of musical tale. How do you connect in your head the dots between your visions from the 70s to the shining bright vibe of the 80s, much more colorful? How did you work in your head, in your style, like a photographer?
Well, my style as a photographer really just took shape of the style of the bands, pretty much what they wore. I mean, I love Led Zeppelin. I love the Sweet. I loved Aerosmith with the Street. So really all the bands that I photographed had elements to that. And then they brought it to designers to fine tune them. And for me, it's like anytime they would come to a photo shoot, especially when it was like a new shoot where they were trying to show their image for the first time, like, you know, like Stay Hungry album or Theater of Pain, when they went glam, or Guns N' Roses or Skid Row, you know, any of those bands, when they first are going to show what the persona is going to be, I was the first one to see what it was. And I actually helped, you know, pick a couple things and thinking what was cool. What's funny is with Skid Row, the first time this photo was ever shown, it's in the book. It's a double page, and it's the first photo shoot of Skid Row ever, and they're all glammed up like the New York Dolls meets Hanoi Rocks, and Snake's got this red hat on, and Sebastian looked like Sebastian with the hair sprouted and all that. Rob and Rachel, they looked like pirates, you know. And I remember them looking at it. I remember John looking at it and Doc McGee and going, what are you guys doing here? You know, it's like, so we kind of scrapped it, and I forgot about the shoot. And then as I was going through the Skid Row files to, you know, pick photos from the photo shoot from the album cover, I found that. I'm like, oh my God, no one's ever seen them. So there's a lot of little hidden jewels in there like that. Like, again, like the John Bon Jovi shot when he was 18. I didn't even know I had that picture until like 3 months before I handed all my photos, because I was looking for Southside Johnny photos for something else. And he opened up the show and I saw
This one?
like, yeah, he was 18 there. He was in a band called The Rest. And at the time, I didn't know who it was. And I was taking pictures of Southside Johnny on the side of the stage. And he's like, what are you taking pictures of me for? Taking pictures of the kid on stage, John. Yeah. And I thought he was just trying to like blow me off, get rid of me, which he probably was. But I went over, I got out of his face, and I went there and started shooting pictures of John. And then I didn't know until like 3 months before the release of I had to send in all the pictures of the book. So things like that, you know, the book gave me a platform to just pull photos that no one's ever seen, or they might have seen, and some behind the scenes photos. And just really, I feel like the book shows a visual history of the changes of the wardrobe, kind of. So it kind of like weaves together successes of different bands from when they, you know, entered the scene until they left it, or left it and came back. And it's just for those 10 years, those special 10 years, that really is it going to be the only decade that people are going to remember in 50 years from now, if you ask me, aside from the 60s and 70s. I think after the 80s, it's going to be forgotten.
Right. O Regis, ele... Oi, tu quer dizer oi?
Não, por favor, por favor.
O Regis perguntou que essas fotos do Mark, elas acabam sendo um conto, uma narrativa visual da música daquela época, né? E como o estilo do Mark acabou mudando dos anos 70 para os anos 80, e como que ele foi vendo, sentindo cada banda, né? E o Mark falou muitas coisas interessantes, entre elas, por exemplo, ele falou que uma coisa que ele era responsável era quando a banda entrava para essa primeira sessão de fotos, ele que identificava, assim, qual que era o visual, qual que era o wardrobe, né, qual que era a vestimenta da banda para pegar o estilo deles. Então, ele meio que testemunhava a primeira aparição da banda e a primeira versão visual dessas bandas, né. E aí ele contou o que aconteceu com o Skid Row, né, que quando eles chegaram lá no estúdio, que foi a primeira sessão de fotos de toda a carreira do Skid Row, como eles tinham aquele visual, assim, meio pirata, né, o Sebastian Bach, né, parecia uma mistura de New York Dolls, e agora eu não lembro qual era a outra banda, né, e então ele captou, né, o espírito do Skid Row, e ele também trouxe uma informação que ele tem muitas fotos, assim, que ficaram perdidas por anos, que ele nem lembrava que ele tinha, fotos raríssimas, como a do John Bon Jovi com apenas 18 anos, que até faz parte do livro, né, então ele falou também que ele tem esse arquivo dessas fotos históricas, né, e ele disse que a questão dos anos 80, né, que acabou sendo mais colorida, mas muito por causa dessa pegada glam, né, que era a tônica da época.
E nós temos agora mais um convidado de peso aqui na nossa conversa, Mr. Dee Snider.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Dee.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, great, very good.
Okay,
nice to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey, Dee, how are you?
Life is good.
And Dee, what's your best memories about the photo sessions for the Stay Hungry cover? Was there a pre-established concept of how the band should be portrayed, or the photos started to appear spontaneously? And how was the cover photo chosen?
Well, my best memory is when it was over. Because it was 22 hours.
Really?
22 hours.
Wow.
We started at 11 o'clock on one day and went all through the night until 9 in the morning the next day. Wow. So that was very long, very long. And many different looks, many different shots, no makeup, you know, a lot of changes. And the album cover shot was taken in the last, what'd you say, Mark? 5 minutes?
Probably 30 seconds, actually.
30 seconds.
It was the last photo on the roll of 36 photos. I mean, there was other photos from that where you're holding the bone and you're doing this, but that actual photo was the last one. It was like
The last
36.
one.
Yeah.
After 22 hours. And we had finished all the shooting. And as I walked away from the set, Mark says what he always says, one more roll, one more roll, Dee. And back then it was rolls of film, you know, so, and a roll had 36 pictures.
Yeah.
And the
This
band
is why you look like angry.
Yeah. Hey, Paulo, I'm very angry. I did not want to do one more roll. I did not want to do one more roll. So the band had left and the room, and I said, okay, one more roll. And the one thing I did different was I touched that smelly, awful, horrible bone. The bone was just rotten and awful and gross. And but it was the end, and I said, oh, fuck it. And I grabbed the bone, and those 36 pictures, we start posing with the bone. Wow. And that last photo of me holding the bone in the corner, that was the picture. That was the cover.
Okay. But you you let her do that? Okay.
Let her translate.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Snider. I'm Candice, the translator. Hello. Então, o Regis perguntou, né, qual que era a melhor lembrança, né, que Dee Snider tinha da sessão de fotos, que acabou resultando na capa do famoso lendário disco, né, Stay Hunger. E se tinha uma ideia pré-concebida ou se foi tudo meio espontâneo. Então, aí o Snider começa assim, que a melhor memória foi quando terminou aquela sessão de fotos, né, porque ela acabou durando 22 horas, começou às 11 da manhã e só terminou às 9 horas do dia seguinte, né, e tinha muitos looks diferentes, com maquiagem, sem maquiagem, né, os outros elementos, e aí até o Mark comentou, né, que a foto acabou sendo, a foto escolhida foi tirada nos 30 segundos finais da sessão, última foto do rolo de filme, né, e aí o Snider brinca que, às vezes ele estava indo embora, e aí o Mark dizia, só mais um rolo, e ele não aguentava mais, e aí ele acabou mencionando aquele osso famoso que aparece, né, e aí o Dee Snider disse que o osso estava podre, fedido, e tinha que encostar naquilo, e ele já estava furioso. Então ele começou a tirar todas as fotos com o osso na mão, né? E aí acabou resultando nessa foto lendária, mais uma foto lendária do Mark Weiss.
I don't speak Portuguese, but I could tell by her expression what she was talking about.
Yeah.
I knew when she was saying it was gross, disgusting, and I knew she was saying that. I'm going, yeah.
So while Dee, after I threw Dee the bone, he just didn't grab the bone. He started making noises like, you know, you just killed my best friend, you know, and like he was making animal noises, hitting holes in the wall, like being an animal. And he was kind of tame kind of earlier on out of respect to the band, because at the time he was kind of like holding back. And I had a feeling he was holding back, but I didn't know until when he came out there, he was holding back. And you know what? That's what we needed for that cover. I almost feel like it was meant to be, to hold back for those group photos and then to come alive. And I didn't expect the police to come and say, is everything okay, you know, after we were done, but you know, that was just part of it.
Let her translate. And then I want to tell you something about what Mark.
I would like also to know what is
it. Paulo, pera um pouquinho, deixa ela traduzir agora.
Ele vai para falar junto.
Não, tudo bem.
Tudo bem. Então, o Marx estava ainda contando a história do osso, porque o Marx sentia que o Dee Snider estava meio se segurando, se controlando durante a sessão de fotos, né? Enquanto ele estava com o grupo, ele ia... E o Marx disse, não, ele realmente precisava represar toda essa fúria, esse lado animalesco, para soltar depois, quando tivesse com o osso na mão. Então, ele começou a se debater nas paredes e tal, até pensaram, meu Deus, vai aparecer a polícia aqui, né? Mas aí quem resultou, né, nessas fotos, esse lado animalesco, né, do Dee Snider.
I want to say about after that photo session, Mark's right. When I was with the band, I would hold back because I didn't want to be disrespectful to them. When I saw the photo session, many of the photos were ruined because Mark Mendoza and AJ Pirro were fooling around. They were giving the middle finger, they were picking their nose, they were ruining the pictures. And after seeing that photo session, I said, I will not hold back anymore because I knew the band wasn't supporting me in doing the right thing. So I knew I had to always be a wild animal in the photo sessions.
O Dee Snider trouxe uma informação muito interessante, né, que os outros membros da banda estavam, durante a sessão de fotos, não estavam levando muito a sério, fazendo sinal, brincadeirinha, e ele disse que ele é que tinha que ter a visão da banda, né, e ele estava se segurando em respeito aos companheiros, mas lá pelas tantas ele disse, não, eu vou soltar o meu lado animal, vou me impor aqui, e aí que acabou acontecendo essa parte final.
Just a little question. Who did bring that fucking bone?
Oh boy, Mark brought the bone. Cut to 30 years later, my son was performing and Mark came to photograph him, Jesse, and he hands Jesse a bag. And Jesse opened the bag and inside is the bone.
No.
Still rotten, still smelly, still disgusting. He saved it for 30 years.
Oh my God.
No.
I don't believe that.
Listen, it was his, I think it was his son's like first video. And, I photographed Jess when, he was in diapers, literally, when we did a Valentine's Day shoot with Jesse dressed up like Cupid. Yeah. And it's just a trip seeing them grow up. And, at some point he wanted to be a model, then he wanted to be, a musician. And of course I'm supportive. I keep my relationships going through the decades. And then when he had his first video and Dee said, can you come down? I said, sure, And then that's when I said, we're going to have Dee pass the bone. So we did a photo of him passing the bone. It was cute,
Ai, que sensacional. Então, aí eles estão contando uma história ainda sobre o osso, né? Que o filho do Dee Snider, o Jesse, então ele ia fazer uma apresentação e o Mark foi lá para dar um apoio. Até o Mark comenta que ele sempre gosta de apoiar o pessoal da cena musical e tal. E aí ele estava com uma sacola. E aí ele entregou essa sacola para o filho do Snider, né? E ele disse, tá aqui para ti, eu estou te passando o bastão, né? Tipo um movimento simbólico. E na verdade dentro da sacola tinha o osso fedido, podre, inacreditável.
Mark, you still have some souvenirs of Twisted Sister behind you.
Oh yeah. The bone I gave away, but I kept the manhole.
I have the bone.
I kept the manhole.
What is the bone? Where you have your bone? What is the bone? In your home?
Okay. First, I had to boil the bone to get the meat and gross, disgusting, rotted flesh off of it. He didn't clean it. So I boiled the bone outside for like hours, and now it's in my office on the shelf.
Yeah.
Eu só vou traduzir essa parte para não perder a piada, tá?
Ok.
O Snider está dizendo que o Regis perguntou se o Mark ainda tinha alguns souvenirs do Twisted Sister, mas, né, e quem que estava com o osso, né? E o Dee Snider diz, eu estou com o osso, mas eu fervi, tirei aquela carne podre, limpei o osso para sair o fedor e guardei. E aí o Mark ia começar a mostrar, então, alguns souvenirs.
Mark, show us your Twisted Sister souvenirs. Not the bone, please.
Oh, it's right here. This is it.
Ah,
That's the other side of this. Now, this, it's a pop-up, right? But this is supposed to be on the bottom side. So this piece here was about 500 pounds. And believe it or not, Dee was underneath it with a street. I had the street built, which is in my garage, of this street where it says this, all this. And I had Dee with his hand sticking out with this 500-pound, you know, manhole cover that was a real manhole cover. My father was in construction, and I told him I was doing. He goes, "I'll make you one of those." And that's actually in the Hard Rock right now in Vegas. But yeah, so I keep everything. You know, the bone, the manhole cover. I even have his the wrappings from and the fingernails from the shoot. I'm actually just had them framed. It's going to be in a museum.
cool.
O Mark está explicando, então, alguns dos souvenirs, que ele diz que ele guarda tudo que ele pode, né? E uma das lembranças que ele tem, então, é essa tampa de bueiro, né? Que é bem famosa, bem icônica, e ela pesa cerca de 200 quilos, né? Então, estava na garagem dele, daí tá aí, e até o Mark disse que o pai dele trabalhava em construção civil, e aí tinha uma outra tampa que agora faz parte do acervo do Hard Rock Café, acho que é Las Vegas ou Los Angeles?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, é.
Yeah.
Mas o osso, não.
Paulo.
What about the picture of Still Hungry? How it was?
Oh, still hungry. Yeah. So the original idea for the album cover was of Stay Hungry was very different. And it was supposed to be the band, the back cover of the album in the room, just like the back cover, but around us was supposed to be the band behind the band. Hungry. Hold, do you ever Stay Hungry album cover? The back side of it, Mark, anywhere near you?
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So right here. So this, the one on the left here was supposed to be on the cover, and then the one on the right was supposed to be behind us, like us in costumes, laid over it. But when we tried to put the picture together, that light bulb hung in somebody's face, I think my face. And there was no Photoshop to remove it. So we couldn't use the picture because the light bulb was blocking my face. You don't want to block this face. This is money. So then looking at the separate pictures, one with the band no costumes, and then one with the band like against the wall, it wasn't right. And as we looked further, we got to the very last picture of the very last roll, me with the bone in the corner screaming like an animal. And they said, that's our album cover.
O Snider o Paulo está perguntando, né, se a ideia original era essa mesma para a capa do álbum, né? Aí eles dizem que eles tinham uma ideia de fazer na capa a banda nessa sala, né? E depois na contracapa a banda atrás da banda, assim, daí com a maquiagem e tal. Só que daí na hora de tirar a foto ficou uma lâmpada bem sobre o rosto do Dee Snider, e aí ele diz que jamais uma lâmpada pode bloquear esse rosto de milhões de dólares, né? Então, não puderam usar, porque naquela época não tinha Photoshop, não tinha como, né, arrumar aquela foto, então eles optaram pela outra opção.
So, Paulo, the answer, Paulo, is when we did Still Hungry, because now we had the technology to remove that light bulb, and we put together the original cover as it was planned originally. So for Still Hungry, that was supposed to be the Stay Hungry album cover.
E aí, então ele diz que agora eles conseguiram, graças à tecnologia, fazer a capa exatamente como eles tinham imaginado para o álbum Still Hungry.
And looking back, I mean, the music is what sold the album, the band. I can't take credit for taking that magic photo. it helped. Every little bit helps, but obviously that photo with Dee holding the bone depicts on what Twisted Sister was about. Not, in my opinion, not the other photo of Still Hungry, which, you know, it just didn't show the energy, but it was, I'm glad they did it for Still Hungry. It meant something. It was intended for the fans. I think they did it for the fans. And that's, yeah, it's history, you know?
Iconic.
Yeah. Então, o Mark está explicando, né, que é claro que todo o sucesso do Twisted Sister é pela música, né, que eles se entregavam para os fãs, mas era a música que puxava a banda, que ele teve o privilégio, então, de participar da captura da energia que a banda já emanava, né, e levar isso aos fãs, e que a banda fazia tudo, então, pelos fãs, mas foi a música que levou a banda para o sucesso.
I got a question to Mark and Dee. And in your opinion, did the band at any time feel trapped within that image captured in the Stay Hungry cover?
Yes and no. Okay, yes and no. We always, unlike Kiss, we always showed ourselves with makeup and without makeup.
Yeah.
On every album. So we weren't hiding, and people knew what we looked like. So we weren't trapped there. There were some band members, Mark Mendoza, particularly, who never really was happy with the makeup and wanted us to try to get us to lose the makeup. As a matter of fact, right before Stay Hungry album, he had a meeting and he demanded a vote from the band that he wanted us to take our makeup off. After 10 years of wearing makeup, he wanted the band to take the makeup off. And it was a 3-2 vote. Mark and AJ voted, take the makeup off, the new guy, and they were the new members of the band, by the way. And me, Eddie, and JJ voted, keep the makeup on. But now, remember the photo session now, after this meeting, and Mark and AJ are doing this, they're doing this, they're making faces, they're ruining the shots because they were angry. The makeup shots, by the way, that's the ones they were ruining because they were angry. They wanted to take the makeup off.
Sim, o Paulo perguntou se a banda se sentia presa a essa imagem icônica, né, do Stay Hungry todo maquiado, com aquele cabelo, todo aquele visual, né, e aí o Dee Snider diz que sim e não, que ele se sentia sim e não preso nessa imagem, que eles, diferentemente do Kiss, eles não ficavam sempre de maquiagem, então os fãs viam eles com e sem maquiagem, então não tinha essa coisa de estar sempre maquiado. E até ele diz que depois de 10 anos começou a ver, né, uma situação com outros membros da banda que eles não queriam mais usar maquiagem, e aí houve uma votação, o Mark Mendoza exigiu uma votação, e aí foi 3-2, eles perderam a votação, ele e o AJ, e foi aí que eles começaram a boicotar a sessão de fotos, né, porque eles estavam bravos que tinham que usar maquiagem e eles não queriam.
That's interesting because, you know, looking back at the photos, because I recently looked back at them before I, you know, had this when I was selecting the photos. I don't think there was one bad photo of them without makeup. No, none of that stuff was going on, you know. And look,
I just realized now, Mark, I just realized that only the makeup photos they sabotage.
That's so crazy. And the 3-2 vote thing, I've never heard that before. Is that, have you ever said that before? Because that's crazy.
Only recently I brought that up, but yeah, it was crazy because I couldn't believe after so many years of struggling and fighting with this look, and we had just done You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, successful, we were becoming international stars, and now they were voting to remove the makeup. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I might have quit the band. I actually might have quit the band. If they voted to remove the makeup, I probably would have quit.
O Mark estava observando, né, que agora, sabendo de toda essa história desse desconforto com a maquiagem por parte do Mark e do AJ, que todas as fotos que eles estão sem maquiagem, todo o rolo tá ok, a sessão de fotos foi ok, mas na sessão de fotos maquiado, era ali que eles boicotavam, que ficavam fazendo gracinha e não levavam a sério. E o Dee Snider, ele fica surpreso, que ele diz que ele não consegue entender, porque eles já eram super bem-sucedidos, artistas internacionais, com aquele visual, já reconhecidos mundialmente, então ele não entendia por que eles exigiam tirar a maquiagem. E o Dee Snider disse que se naquela época a votação, ele tivesse perdido a votação, né, para ter que tirar a maquiagem, ele teria saído da banda.
And what about this picture?
Oh,
That was the original Stay Hungry cover.
A new version of Mother Goose.
and that photo is the first time it's ever been unveiled in the book, because we did it. Dee was great. We come up with ideas and fun stuff, and he was just a great subject, and he would just be an awesome character. And
I think that was Mother's Day picture, right?
It was a Mother's Day picture, yeah. And the band is in the frame, and I think the finger is
So the finger was for Mark or was for the band?
Maybe.
Então,
how about it was for a mark?
A mark, yeah.
A mark to mark.
Eles estão falando agora sobre algumas fotos bem criativas, né, que o Mark conseguiu fazer junto com o Dee Snider, porque o Dee Snider trazia ideias, ele é uma figuraça, né, e essa foto que ele parece a mamãe ganso, que nem diz o Regis, né, é bem interessante porque na moldura tem o quadrinho da banda, né, e o Dee Snider está mostrando o dedo do meio, né, e aí os rapazes perguntaram, tá, mas o dedo do meio era para quem? Era para o Mark ou para o AJ? Ah, era para os dois, né?
Hey, somebody tell Charlie that he's a drummer.
Oh.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. Agora nós temos mais um convidado nesse papo sensacional, Charlie Benante, batera do Anthrax. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, I was enjoying all the Twisted Sister stories. It's like the funny thing is, me and my friends, when we were younger, we would go see Twisted Sister either out on Long Island, and we couldn't get in some of the times because we didn't have ID. We weren't old enough to get in the clubs, and then we got fake IDs and we saw Twisted Sister. So,
wait, Charlie, I was going to say my brother in coffee. And you're having a cup of tea.
Well, I'm having a cup of tea because I had about 8 cups of coffee already, so I have some honey in here.
Okay. All right.
Just to relax.
Então, o Dee Snider estava brincando com o Charlie dizendo, não, mas se alguém te falou, tu lembra que tu é baterista, né? Não tem que ficar aí dedilhando nada. E aí o Charlie Benante contou uma história que, quando ele era bem jovenzinho, ele sempre saía com os amigos em Long Island para assistir o Twisted Sister, mas eles não conseguiam entrar porque eles não tinham idade, né? Não era permitido. E aí o Dee Snider brinca com ele que diz, como assim? Tu é meu parceiro de café, tá ali tomando chá, né? E aí o Charlie diz, não, eu já tomei 8 cafés, então agora é melhor tomar um chazinho mesmo.
I can talk about Twisted Sister all day.
Paulo, você quer perguntar, Paulo?
No, just any time you two, Charlie and Dee, you play together?
We did
together.
Yes,
Yeah,
remember Charlie?
Yes. We did a song years ago on an AC/DC tribute record, like one of those first tribute records that happened, and we did Walk All Over You.
Yeah.
And it was killer.
Great song.
Yeah.
Great
It was Anthrax with Dee Snider on vocals, because I don't think Who was your Bush? He was
John. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think John could do the Bon Scott thing. So you reached out to me, and Bon Scott is my you know, that's my jam. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was awesome.
O Paulo perguntou se eles já tinham tocado juntos, né? E o Dee diz que sim, o Charlie, eles tocaram juntos num álbum tributo do AC/DC, eles tocaram a faixa Walk Over You, né? Diz que ficou excelente, né?
Legal. And Dee, since those times you make a lot of music about stand up for yourself, like the big hits, we're not gonna take it and I Wanna Rock. And it was strongly connected with images and videos. Nowadays, how to connect your sense of purpose when you're creating music that other people can relate, how to connect to a visual message, how to connect what you create and the images so that message is well understood and assimilated. Is this connection still important today?
Yeah, back, you know, in the Twisted days, wearing the makeup was a very defiant thing to look like that and really brought out the message of defiance and believe in yourself and stand up for yourself. Now I don't wear the makeup, but I just finished recording a new album with Jamie Jasta. It's called Leave a Scar. It'll be out on Napalm in July. Heavy as fuck, A, and B, I'm writing the words again, and the messages are all the same. Stand up for yourself. There's a song called Stand on the record. And because this is such an important message, people need to be reminded. And I realize that I am one of those voices that speaks for other people who cannot. It's my job to scream, fuck you, for everybody who can't get on the stage and do that. So it's my job, man. It's my job.
O Regis fez a seguinte pergunta, né, que nos anos 80, a música do Twisted Sister era muito conectada aos vídeos, né, a questão visual, essa questão de seja você mesmo, né, se imponha, né, não fique para trás, assim. E aí o Dee Snider diz, né, que realmente agora é desafiador fazer essa relação visual, mas ele está agora para lançar um álbum, né, e as letras, ele percebeu que, assim, ó, é bem pesadão, né, uma música bem pesada, mas as letras continuam com o mesmo tom, seja você mesmo, né, se imponha. Ele diz que ele quer ser a voz no palco daqueles outros que não podem subir no palco e gritar foda-se, né, então ele quer fazer isso pelas pessoas que não têm voz.
Yeah.
Mark and Charlie, what's your opinion about that? Is this connection still important today?
My connection with Mark is way more important than anything that's. I'm kidding. You mean what Dee was talking about, or?
I think he's speaking of the musical connection with the audience, and I mean, you guys, Anthrax, are fucking defiant too. I mean, you know, you guys are and I like to think you learned that from Twisted, but you know, you guys were as defiant as it comes, man.
You know, it's funny because a lot of the New York bands, our mindset is if we get knocked down, get back up right away. And a couple of years after 9/11, there was a show that was orchestrated by Eddie Trunk and Twisted were involved, and we did a show to raise some money for the firemen and the policemen in New York after 9/11. And it was something that I always think that if 9/11 would have happened in some other city, it may not have had the same effect. New Yorkers just got right back up and were like, you know, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's like, it was devastating, but it was just like, you know, when you walk down the streets of New York, nobody really looks at each other. But after 9/11, everybody was more like, hey, how are you? You know, it was that type of thing. And, you know, again, we are, just like Dee said, it's like, fuck you. People need someone to say, fuck you, for them so they could feel it, you know?
Yeah.
And we've said it recently too. I don't want to get into that, but a lot of us have said, fuck you, fuck this, you know, tired of it. We're not going to take it.
Então, o Regis estava perguntando se eles também se sentiam isso, né? Se o Charlie sentia essa questão se a conexão mudou de alguma forma. E ele disse que não, que essas bandas, essa mentalidade de Nova York que ele tem no Anthrax, né? É aquela coisa de caiu, levante-se imediatamente, né? Então, ele deu como exemplo quando aconteceu o ataque às Torres Gêmeas em 11 de setembro, né? Como a população de Nova York acabou até mudando um pouco, se tornando um pouco mais solidária, que até o Anthrax fez um show beneficente para o Corpo de Bombeiros, né, para os bombeiros de Nova York, e ele disse que o que ele mais percebeu foi que as pessoas agora elas se olham mais nos olhos, né, e antes o nova-iorquino costumava virar a cara e tal, e ele também, ele diz uma coisa bem interessante, que o que importa é essa atitude, né, de dizer, foda-se, a gente não vai levar tudo, engolir tudo, né, a gente está aqui para se posicionar.
Answering Regis's question about image and visual imagery and video, I feel it's important personally. I mean, you know, I feel it's important to connect a visual, a video to a song. I mean, you know, Dee just released something. I think he just released it of Love Hurts, and you know, you listen to it and it's awesome, but you watch it and you just want to watch the whole thing because it's, you know, it's emotional, it's visual, it's, you know, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just me being someone from the 80s that got brought up on that, but I think the kids are I think there should be more. I think the kids want to see that. And I think it will, if new artists had more connections with that and put more effort into it, I think they'll last a lot longer than just like one-hit wonders and things like that. I think it's very important to like keep a visual, you know, whether it's a mystery or intrigue or what have you, you know, or just rock and roll jamming out in the club, you know, whatever it is. So, you know.
I agree with that.
O Mark faz uma observação bem interessante para a pergunta do Regis sobre essa conexão do visual, se ela ainda é relevante, né? E ele diz que sim, que é importante conectar a música a um vídeo, por toda essa carga emocional que o vídeo pode passar, da pessoa querer acompanhar uma história, uma narrativa, né? E ele diz que pode ser que seja porque ele é da geração dos anos 80, né? Que a gente era muito visual naquela época, mas que agora, qualquer artista novo, se ele colocar um pouquinho mais de esforço em conectar a sua música com essa questão da imagem, né? Ele acha que esse artista novo ele vai acabar durando mais.
I'm talking about connections. Okay, I know Charlie from long years, also Dee from long years. I found something between you two and also with Mark. You are the artist side. Is Charlie? He's a painter. He's an artist, also designer. And you, Dee, you are artist. As an actor, you are also director. You work behind the scenes too. So that's, I think, when I saw your shows, you are always there as entertainment. So and that make like an entertainment, but the truth is, I don't know. I found something that not many bands has. You know, YouTube. I think YouTube plus Mark now in the connection. I make something. A close connection where there is a real art behind, but going with the good marketing. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but it's because it's true. I don't know. Please comment about that.
I mean, I totally understand what you mean. And one of the reasons why I enjoyed working with Mark is because Mark would get excited about that type of stuff. You know, you have an idea, you have a concept, let's go with it. Let's roll with it. Come show up to the studio the day before or a couple hours early and let's fucking create something. And that's what we did when we did the I'm the Man cover. You know, it was, I just wanted it to look like an urban, you know, street backdrop. And Mark was like, here you go, do it. And I don't even know how many hours I spent on that, but we just put it together. And like I said, Mark was so enthusiastic about it. and it just makes for a better picture. It makes for a better concept, better cover. I mean, you know, I'm sure Dee could attest to all that too. Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, and you know, and what Charlie's saying is true, and what you're saying, Paulo, is look, we're creative people. It goes more than just the music. We have an artistic eye as well. So when, and credit where credit's due, Mark the Animal Mendoza had the original idea for the Stay Hungry album. Didn't work out, but the Tenement, Mark helped him bring that literally to life by building that set. When I had an idea for the Come Out and Play cover, and I wanted a street with a manhole, I mean, Mark literally had poured asphalt and a 500-pound cast iron manhole cover made to bring this vision to life. So this is the artistic mind all connecting together and Mark bringing it to life. Now let this poor girl say all those things.
Thank you, Mr. Snider. Yeah, I try.
Maybe they're good.
Não, I hope so. Então, o Paulo fez uma pergunta super interessante também, porque ele diz o seguinte, ó, que tanto o Charlie tem esse lado mais artístico, ele é um artista plástico, ele é designer. Já o Dee Snider, ele tem todo esse lance de atuação, né? Ele é um artista performático e tal, ele também gosta de trabalhar nos bastidores da opinião. Então, se essa questão de eles serem artistas criativos nesse lance visual e plástico, se isso aí também ajudou na relação deles com o Mark Weiss. Então, o Charlie diz que adora trabalhar com o Mark, porque ele topa todas as ideias, né? Ele vem, por exemplo, se a banda chega com uma ideia, ele diz, tá, vamos lá, vamos fazer, vamos dar um jeito, né? Então, eles têm uma relação mais colaborativa, então ele se sente bastante feliz, porque o Mark está sempre motivado, entusiasmado com as ideias que vêm da própria banda, né, do próprio músico. E o Dee Snider diz que sim, que ele considera que essa questão de eles se darem tão bem com o Mark é porque são pessoas criativas, né, gostam de trabalhar com a criatividade. Aí ele diz que quem teve a ideia original da capa do álbum, né, foi o Mark Mendoza, mas foi o Mark que materializou aquela ideia, que foi atrás da tampa do bueiro, que pesava 200 quilos, mas ele não desistiu, até que não conseguiu a tal da tampa do bueiro, e acabou acontecendo mágica, né?
Charlie, I'm going to ask you the same questions that I asked to Dee Snider. What's your best memories about the photo session for I'm the Man EP cover? What's your best memories about that?
My best memory is we went shopping day prior to look for all Adidas suits. And some of us never wore Adidas tracksuits before, you know.
Really?
Some of us never wore big gold chains before, but there was an image that we were trying to capture, you know, just look like, you know, like Run DMC or the Beastie Boys. And when we showed up at Mark's place with all these tracksuits, I didn't even know if Mark was prepared for those. I thought maybe he thought we were going to wear our normal clothes, and then he saw us dressing up in Adidas tracksuit. He probably went like, "Okay, all right, you know, this is going to be a little different." And then we just went with it. You know, Mark does his best at, you know, come on guys, give me this, and you just kind of get into character, and you hope that everyone else gets into character too.
That's the hardest thing. You guys were the first wiggers?
Well, I would say that we each had a color that we liked, and I always wanted the black on black one. Joey had the blue, and we just kind of, like I said, we just went with the whole look and the style. And like I said, Mark was just like, "All right, guys, give me this, give me that," you know, and that was it. And then we got that cover. And I will say one thing about the cover too, is that cover was just an EP, and that cover went platinum, which we were totally shocked about that, but people liked it and it worked.
Então, o Regis fez a mesma pergunta que ele fez antes para o Snider, que é, qual é a melhor memória que ele tem, a melhor lembrança que ele tem da sessão de gravação da capa do EP, Fotografia. E aí ele disse que foi quando eles foram comprar os abrigos, os agasalhos da Adidas, né? Eles apareceram lá no estúdio do Mark, todos vestidos com agasalhos de Adidas, cada um numa cor, azul, vermelho, e o Mark ficou, meu Deus, vocês vão usar isso aí? É esse o visual da banda, né? E aí, o que aconteceu? Daí o Mark ajudou os membros da banda a entrar no personagem, faça isso, faça aquilo. Então, a sessão de fotos acabou ocorrendo bem tranquila e eles se sentiram à vontade, né? E foi um sucesso.
Charlie, excuse me. All right.
No, last time, my last photo shoot with them, they came up and they just wore their stuff, you know, and when they started putting on this Adidas stuff, I'm like, I had no idea what was going on. You know, I mean, I had no idea what was going on with, you know, when Charlie started painting. I kind of went with it. But I love that. I love spontaneity. I love not knowing sometimes what we're going to be doing. And then when they started putting all that on, I was into it because, you know, it was such a conflict of what I thought they were about. Needless to say, it's like they helped, you know, bridge that gap of, you know, rap and metal, just like Aerosmith did with Walk This Way. Yeah. You know, and I was honored to be chosen as the chosen one. You know, it was really an honor, and still to this day, you know, thank you, Charlie.
No, thank you. You helped capture the whole vibe of that session, and you know, a few of us in the band were just so into the whole hip hop scene at that time, and we would go down to Def Jam and hang out with our friends there, and it was just such a great vibe. And the original idea for that song, "I'm the Man," it was supposed to be us and the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys were going to do the rapping on it, but our schedules were so crazy at that time that we couldn't get it together. And then we decided just to do it, just out of, you know, we need this to be done, and we did it, and that's how it happened. And it was originally supposed to be the Beastie Boys.
Actually, you did it, Charlie, on vocals. I mean, that's
I did. Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. You know, when you did that, that's just so cool.
O Mark deu um depoimento que ele se sente muito orgulhoso, privilegiado por ter testemunhado, né, o Anthrax fazer essa ponte entre o rap e o rock, né? E aí o Charlie explica, porque tipo, era uma coisa meio conflituosa, às vezes eles passavam uma imagem, às vezes passava outra, de repente o Charlie estava lá fazendo uma pintura, alguma coisa, um grafite, alguma coisa assim. Então ele disse que foi legal testemunhar, né, quem eles eram, quem eles estavam se tornando. E aí o Charlie explica que a banda sempre teve uma relação muito próxima com o hip hop, que eles costumavam, né, curtir junto com o pessoal da gravadora Def Jam, né? Então ele é uma influência muito grande. Então aquele rap que acontece, né, nesse EP, até eles iam fazer uma parceria com o Beastie Boys, mas por questões de agenda não deu certo. Então acabou que eles mesmos fizeram os trechos, os vocais de rap no álbum.
Charlie, Charlie something. Charlie, you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Did you know that Chuck D used to go see Twisted Sister in the clubs on Long Island too?
I did not know this, but I don't doubt it.
Chuck D said, and quote, "If there wasn't a Twisted Sister, there would not be a Public Enemy."
Oh, God.
He said that it was our rebellion and our fuck you attitude that inspired him to form Public Enemy, which is amazing praise. But to think that both you guys were out there getting inspired in one way or another, it blows my mind, actually.
It blows my mind too, actually.
O Dee Snider está trazendo para nós uma curiosidade muito interessante, que o Chuck D, do Public Enemy, também costumava assistir os shows do Twisted Sister, e que ele, inclusive, falou que não haveria Public Enemy se não fosse a rebeldia, né, todo aquele visual, assim, ousado do Twisted Sister, que acabou inspirando a criação do Public Enemy também.
Uau. E nós temos mais um convidado de peso, mas bota peso pesado nisso. Mr. Carmine Appice. Hello, Carmine.
Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Carmine, what's up, brother?
Hi, Carmine.
Hey, Dee, what's up, dude?
I'm good. Listen, everybody, I'm going to step out because I've been here for a little while and let Carmine, I love you. And it's nice to see you we were both at a memorial, private memorial for Leslie West recently.
Yes,
That's the last time I saw Carmine, so it's good to see you under other terms, my friend. And
Okay,
Mark,
bro.
congratulations on the book. Charlie, I'll see you guys around. Paulo, we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of getting my daughter out of Peru. With your help soon, I will be calling you about that. And translator girl, you crushed it. I could tell. Okay.
And wait, and hey, Dee, I just wanted to thank you for obviously all the, bringing me under your wing and taking me to the PMRC and here and there. But I want to thank you for getting me this jacket that I have all my tour jackets hung up.
That's an awesome tour jacket.
It was, and it still fits. And I remember because the band decides who gets the jackets and who doesn't. I remember and I think I heard him saying should we give Weiss a jacket? And I think a couple of them said no.
Mendoza said no, but I made sure you got one, brother. You earned it.
No, thanks. And thanks for the albums. I have them over here next to my I'm the Man album cover. Thank you, Charlie. And thanks for everything. What can I say?
Hey, man. Pleasure to see all you guys. Talk soon, all right?
All right. Here's a picture. Here we go. Come on, give it to me. Yeah.
One more roll.
Woo! One more.
One more roll.
Você quer traduzir, querida?
Sim, claro. O Dee Snider estava dizendo tchau, né, pra gente, porque ele tinha um compromisso. E aí o Mark aproveitou para agradecer pela jaqueta, né, que disse que essa jaqueta estava em algum set. E aí perguntaram, mas vocês deram pro Mark a jaqueta? Não, não deu. Mas não, eles tinham dado a jaqueta, né? E aí o Dee Snider agradeceu a participação de todos, né? E o Mark agora também falou sobre os álbuns que estavam aí atrás, agradeceu o Charlie também. E era isso.
Carmine, it's a great pleasure to talk with you. And I would like to know, how did you meet Mark for the first time? Was it during the time that you played with Ozzy?
I think I met him when we were in King Cobra, actually. I don't remember exactly when I met Mark, but I do remember we did lots of photo shoots with Ozzy backstage. And when Mark released his book, I went to his book release party, and he had a really good shot of me that he gave me, which I have in New York, and in our house in New York. I'm in Florida right now. But Mark, he might remember where we actually met first.
All right. Let's
Mark, do you remember the first time you met Carmine?
Yeah, let's rewind a little bit, Carmine.
Yes.
King Cobra was not the first time I met you.
Okay, when was it?
Okay, let's go back. All right, it was with Ozzy. I was on tour.
It was with Ozzy. Okay.
It was with Ozzy, and then after that, after he left Ozzy,
right? I forgot King Cobra was after Ozzy.
Of course it was. It was like 6 years later. It's all right. It's all right.
You're right.
And then we did the Wii magazine shoot. But it was Ozzy.
Right. Yeah. How can we forget about that?
Okay, it was Ozzy. We spent a lot of time together in England, or I think we went to England together. But I documented the tour. Every couple of weeks, I would go out with Ozzy, and we did a bunch of photos, and we became friends. And,
the wildest thing was that Wii magazine shoot. That was the shoot that got me thrown off of lead with drums, because at that time
maybe this one, maybe that one.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's it.
You look happy.
I was a happy man. There's some better shots of that, I gotta say. Hey Charlie, how you doing, bro?
A family shoot.
How are you?
Good.
A family shoot.
Yeah, that was a great time. Now, is Candice translating all this?
Yeah,
thank you, Carmine.
Okay, so do I shut up now and you go?
Yeah.
Ok, that's okay. Então, o Regis perguntou, então, como que eles se conheceram, como o Mark e o Carmine se conheceram. Então, o Carmine estava pensando, eu acho que foi na época do King Cobra, né, que houve muitas sessões também, junto com o Ozzy e tal, que eles tinham sempre essa convivência no backstage e tal, e que tem uma foto linda dele, né, em turnê, e aí o Mark diz, não, Carmine, não foi, tu ainda estava com o Ozzy, né, eu te conheci, né, justamente numa turnê que ele acompanhou o Ozzy, né, que o Mark até acabaram se tornando amigos e tal, e depois que ele deixou o Ozzy, que ele entrou, então, na King Cobra, e aí eles se lembraram particularmente de uma sessão bem selvagem, né, para o E! Magazine, né, então eles falam daquela foto, né, que é uma foto bem interessante, e até o Regis brincou, não é uma foto de família, né, então, e o Carmine diz que tem boas lembranças dessas sessões de foto.
Okay. Paulo, por favor.
No, I can imagine, because with that face, Carmine, like a playboy guy, with all these girls, with Mark at that time, will be proof. I can imagine that is the image of the 80s.
That was definitely the 80s. I mean, you know, but it actually, what happened was, at the time I was playing Ludwig Drum Company, and because of that magazine, it was the time when AIDS was just going around, and the owner of Ludwig, Bill Ludwig II, didn't like the fact that I did that, and he thought I was, you know, catching AIDS. So he asked me to leave the company, which was crazy, because he was an older guy and didn't understand, you know. So, Candice, you have to say that?
He didn't understand that we wanted to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was married at the time too, and I had a very nice wife who put up with that magazine. And it was not only that issue, we had like 3 or 4 issues, and then we had a party. Remember the party? They had the We Spill the Beans award. I got an award for that because they said it sold so many copies, you know, and it had all the crazy stories of like the Led Zeppelin and the Mud Shark and all that stuff was in there. And, you know, it was fun. But Mark, we did a great job because it looked like the hotel was wrecked that we were in.
Yeah.
But we really didn't wreck the hotel. We just made it look really bad.
Well, we actually did wreck it, but I had to put everything back together because I had a limited expense account, you know, right. Had to make sure.
But, I mean, there was no damage. It was just
no. I put
messy.
It back. Yeah, I put it back.
Yeah,
and we had fun at the bar when we had the contest on the radio station.
Yeah.
Luring these girls in. I mean, you listen. Like we contacted the local radio station, rock station. And we announced that we were looking for 2 women that were.
Was that Chicago?
No, it was Florida.
Florida. Oh, Florida. Yeah, where I am now. Beautiful.
So we're looking for.
I remember now. Yeah.
We're looking for a few women to come down and to expose themselves with Carmine, and we had a contest, and they came down to the show that Carmine had at that time.
Right.
And we would be the judges, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And then the women that won, you remember that their husbands were on the other side of the camera with you.
Yeah, they had a couple, unfortunately.
That's pretty wild.
I think
Can I translate?
You're gonna say all that and have fun.
Ok. Então, eles estão contando os bastidores daquela sessão de fotos com as 2 garotas, né? E aquele quarto de hotel que parece todo destruído, né? Então, até eles disseram que o hotel não estava destruído assim, que eles foram lá, arrumaram como se fosse um cenário, mas que depois o Mark teve que arrumar tudo de volta, né? Porque ele não tinha fundos para poder, né, consertar se houvesse alguma coisa estragada. Então, ele deixou tudo arrumadinho. E como é que eles conseguiram as garotas para essa sessão de fotos? Eles estavam na Flórida, e aí numa rádio local eles divulgaram que estavam procurando mulheres que não se importassem em se expor junto com o Mark, né, para essa sessão de fotos, e aí apareceram várias garotas, e tanto o Mark quanto o Carmine foram os jurados, né, eles escolheram as meninas, e aí eu não sei se é brincadeira ou não, mas parece que os maridos delas estavam lá na sessão de fotos.
Não duvido.
Não duvido.
Probably.
E aí o Carmine diz que na época ele era casado, né? E ele disse que, nossa, a esposa dele tinha que aguentar esse tipo de coisa na época, né? Good girl.
There is no business like show business.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know how she remembered all that.
I don't know either, but I pay attention. I try.
That's a lot to remember and re-say.
She's
So
good.
I hope
She's
I'm
good.
doing a good job.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. And then I remember we did the photo shoot and Ozzy's backstage at one of the gigs, and I think we did it like in a bathroom, wasn't it, Mark?
Oh yeah, with the knife, right?
Yeah, with the knife, and
Yeah.
I had the cape on, and
Yeah.
we did that one.
I had to hold his hand back because he really wanted to.
And the one that was at your show, that was one of those backstage as well.
Yeah. Carmine. Actually, the first time I shot Carmine, I was 17 years old at Madison Square Garden when he was playing with Rod Stewart. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, I was 17. I used to sneak in the concerts and take pictures and sell them for $1 a piece, until I got arrested at a Kiss concert
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
And Charlie was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
Where the Kiss? Charlie was at the Kiss concert.
No, I was at the Rod Stewart show. I was
you were?
with my two cousins took me. I was small then, but
Man, you guys are making me feel old. Come on.
no. But it was one of the first times that I remember seeing like one of my favorite drummers play, and
Thank you.
it was awesome. I mean, the whole show was just so great. I mean, Rod Stewart, you know what I mean?
Yeah. When we were Rod, he was amazing.
It's just you're watching, this icon that, and then the band that he had was killer. It was just great,
Yeah.
Então eles estão brincando, né, sobre uma sessão de fotos com o Ozzy, que tinha uma faca, eles estavam no banheiro, e aí até o Mark disse que tinha que segurar o punho do Ozzy, porque, né, bom, imaginem, né? E o Mark estava lá e tinha que segurar o punho do Ozzy. E aí, então, eles também estavam comentando que a primeira vez que o Mark tirou foto, né, que fotografou o Carmine, foi num show do Rod Stewart, que o Carmine era baterista do Rod Stewart, e ele tinha só 17 anos, o Mark, quando fez as fotos. Ele ia nesses shows, ele dava um jeito de entrar de penetra, e ele vendia as fotos a $1, né, para poder ter um dinheirinho. E aí o Charlie comenta que ele lembra dos shows, né, do Carmine com o Rod Stewart, porque para ele era uma grande oportunidade, um dos bateristas favoritos dele, né, e também que o Rod Stewart tinha uma banda fantástica, né, então era como ver uma lenda, né, um ícone.
Charlie, Carmine, and Mark, what is most important when establish a connection between a musician and a photographer?
Well, I think for me, it's the photographer making you feel relaxed and at ease and not nervous, And some guys like Mark and another guy, Neil Slazauer, they were very they were like your friends, unlike a lot of different other photographers, which will, just come in and do it. They were like raise your hand up, fix your hair, do that, do this, and they make you feel at ease, and they make you feel like you're going to get a great picture. That's what Mark used to do to me, and it's very easy to work with Mark that way,
Very easy. That's the thing about Weiss, was that we trusted him, and we knew that he was going to get the shot that we wanted. And when we would see, hey, we can do a shoot with Mark, we would get all excited and we would put on our best for him. And there was only a handful of really good photographers back then too, and Mark was the cream,
Yeah.
No pun intended, cream. But yeah, so we trusted him and we enjoyed it. He had great energy and he would get good stuff out of us.
Então, o Regis perguntou o que eles consideram, ou qual é a coisa mais importante na relação, nessa conexão entre o músico e o fotógrafo. O Carmine, ele começa que ele diz que o Mark, ele sempre deixou todo mundo muito à vontade, muito tranquilo, que ele sentia que eles eram amigos e, principalmente, que a foto ia sair boa, que eles iam conseguir uma foto muito boa da sessão. E o Charlie comenta que a questão mais importante do Weiss é a confiança. Eles estabeleceram uma relação de confiança entre a banda e o fotógrafo, que a banda sabia que o Mark ia ser capaz de chegar onde eles queriam, né, ter a foto que eles queriam, que eles imaginavam, né, e assim essa relação de confiança fazia o fotógrafo dar o melhor dele com a banda e a banda dar o melhor de si para o fotógrafo.
And you, Mark?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, early teen, I was kind of shy, you know. My brother, my older brother, who actually got me into music, he had a band and whatnot. He had some mental illness, and he ended up getting a lot of the attention from my parents. And I was kind of like, you know, I kind of like had to step it down and not kind of crave my parents' attention. And then once I started going to concerts, I started taking the pictures like Peter Frampton and Kiss and bring him to school the next day and show them to my friends, and they all got excited, and I got all this attention and started meeting girls and started making money from selling them out of my high school locker for $1 a piece. And then the concerts. So I got the attention. So I kind of knew right away, like once I started doing it, that's kind of what I wanted to do. And then, you know, moving forward, you know, a couple of years, I mean, I moved really quick into this, like a couple of years later, you know, a year after I got arrested at a Kiss concert, I had a centerfold of Steven Tyler in Circus Magazine. And then Steven saw it, and then Lieber Krebs hired me, and they had AC/DC and Ted Nugent. The ball started rolling really quick. And then when I started coming into my own in the 80s and getting hired by the record companies and by the bands and by other magazines doing covers, I felt like every time I shot a new band that, you know, I mean, I was shooting Ozzy and Judas Priest that were already established, but when I started shooting like these new bands, like, you know, Anthrax and Cinderella or Dokken, and they were just coming out of the gate and wanted my help because I was now an established photographer. It was like having like 4 or 5 new friends, you know, like, and that's why I loved it, because I loved having all these new friends and hanging out with them. I mean, they would take me on a bus and go on, give me a bunch. They would clear out their junk bunk so I can go in there. It was a little smelly because all their laundry was there. You know? I didn't care, you know? And so it was fun. And that's why I did what I do. And my talent is not a technical thing, because I'm not a technical guy, but my talent is just to know how to make people look good. And I make them feel good, I guess, by being around them, because I'm not intrusive, and I am kind of shy, you know, still. But, you know, once I gain their trust, I get more out of them. And it just worked together because it made sense. That's what a photographer does. He makes you feel good, and you make them feel good, and you just come up with the right chemistry, and you get images that no one else can get.
Então, o Mark estava explicando que ele era muito tímido na adolescência, né, porque ele começou respondendo a pergunta do Regis sobre essa conexão com os músicos, né, e ele disse que na família dele, ele sempre ficava meio de lado, porque a família tinha uma preocupação maior com o irmão mais velho dele, que estava enfrentando alguns problemas e tal, mas na escola, ele acabou se tornando popular, porque ele sempre tinha esse contato com o mundo do rock, com os shows e tal. Ele disse que as coisas foram acontecendo muito rapidamente, que ele acabou tirando umas fotos muito boas do Kiss, que ele conseguiu negociar até uma página dupla do Aerosmith, e a partir daí foi tudo muito rápido. Quando ele viu, as bandas começaram a procurar ele, as gravadoras, as revistas, né, que ele acabou se tornando um fotógrafo bem renomado. E ele diz que daí o que acontecia? Que muitas bandas convidavam ele para sair em turnê, então ele entrava no ônibus da turnê, ficava no beliche, que era meio fedido e tal, mas que ele gostava de estar rodeado de amigos, né, que ele se sentia muito confortável nesse meio. E ele diz, inclusive, que ele gostava muito de receber essas bandas novas, porque daí quando ele, nos anos 80, final dos anos 80, ele já era um fotógrafo renomado, então era a vez dele ajudar, né, esse pessoal novo, e ele sempre gostou de fazer muitos amigos, ganhar a confiança do pessoal, né. Ele diz que nem é tanto uma questão técnica, o fato de ele ser um bom fotógrafo, é mais um talento que ele tem de fazer as pessoas se sentirem bem e de aparecerem bem nessas imagens, né? Porque ele consegue estabelecer essa relação de confiança.
Okay,
the
Carmine,
one thing,
sorry.
the one thing I wanted to say about like Mark especially is the one thing that the photographers need is access. Once they have the access, then it's up to them to be a fly on the wall in the room or wherever it is and capture that moment, that vibe. Now, when I look at photos that were taken 30, 40 years ago, they tell a story, you know, but back then when you were doing it, you're just doing it because, oh, this is cool. This could be cool. As time goes on, those images mean so much more to everyone now than they did back then. You know, it's something they age, you know, just like going to a museum and looking at a piece of art hanging on the wall. That's how a lot of these photos are. They're just art. I mean, I have them all over my house because they remind me of a time that I loved, you know? So, yeah, photographers, access. That's what you need.
O Charlie deu depoimento bem interessante, que ele diz que o fotógrafo, a primeira coisa que ele precisa é ter acesso. E no momento que ele consegue acesso aos músicos, aí depende só dele fazer um bom trabalho, capturar a vibe, a energia do ambiente. E o Charlie diz uma coisa muito interessante, que ele fala que as fotos, elas contam uma história, que hoje elas acabam significando muito mais do que na época. Na época eles só estavam fazendo as coisas deles e tal, e o Mark, isso é legal, isso não é, mas hoje as fotos que chegaram até nós nesse tempo, quando a gente olha para elas, é como ir a um museu de arte, elas são como obras de arte, são como peças de história que contam a história do rock, né? E o Charlie diz que ele gosta muito de ver essas obras de 30 anos atrás, essas fotos, porque elas são como obras de arte.
Yeah. Carmine and Charlie, we are talking about the good things about Mark, but probably he put you in so many troubles in all these years, right? Tell me about it.
about troubles of Mark?
Maybe troubles, yeah, because his face looks like a trouble guy.
Well, like I said, for me, the biggest trouble we had was when we did that We magazine shoot, when he wrecked the hotel room. That was the biggest trouble I ever had with him.
But it was also the most funny you ever had too.
It was fun. It was a good time, a really good time. It's funny because we're doing a Vanilla Fudge song with Tim Bogert, who just passed away. He's on the track, and I was looking for old photos, and I'm looking through all my scrapbooks my mother made and all that stuff, and I found a file folder. I opened it up, and it's the whole magazine, the We magazine, like whoever was on there had it, you know. And I looked at it, I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I have this," you know. And then like the month after, we had the calendar, and then we had the photos of the party. So I was like a running thing for like 4 or 5 months. I was in We magazine every month. I became like a contributor, like a Fox News contributor. I was a We magazine contributor.
Então, o Carmine, o Paulo perguntou se o Mark já meteu o Carmine em alguma encrenca da pesada, né? E aí o Carmine diz, não, acho que a pior foi aquela vez do quarto de hotel destruído para aquela sessão de fotos com as garotas, né? Daí o Mark retruca, né? Ah, mas foi a mais divertida também, né? Foi a situação mais divertida. E aí ele diz que o Carmine encontrou um álbum de recortes, um scrapbook que a mãe dele mantinha, né? E dentro daquele scrapbook ele achou a revista inteira, daquela edição da We Magazine, e até ele comenta que a relação deles com essa revista acabou sendo quase uma relação de trabalho contínuo. Eles eram como se fossem comentaristas, colaboradores, que nem se fosse da Fox News, eles eram colaboradores dessa revista We Magazine.
Charlie and Carmine and Mark, the most of musicians prefer to record albums with analog technologies, recording with 2-inch tapes, vintage equipments. And I would like to know Mark, a question about this. In your opinion, how the digital cameras have changed rock photograph? That magic experience when we did receive the impact of a photo in magazines, this magic was gone?
Yeah, well, I love digital cameras because you don't have to buy film and you can shoot as much as you want. However, same goes for non-professional photographers that think they're photographers. And I have nothing against anyone that wants to pick up a camera and try to get creative with it. But a lot of times they think of a good photo is just picking it up and taking a picture of somebody. So, you know, digital photography now, well, photography, rock and roll photography kind of lost its oomph because there's so many people taking photographs and there's backstage moments on video. Back then, there was just a handful of us doing what we do, and you waited for that magazine to come out to see what they look like and to see what they did, who they hung out with. So in that respect, what me and a handful of photographers did in the 80s was very important to that era because, like Charlie said, it documented history and the importance of those magic moments that we created, and we didn't even know we were creating them. You know, it's like we felt like anyone that did it today because everyone's got a cell phone. But back then, there wasn't a lot of people doing it. So those images are just worth so much more.
But the good thing is, like, when you are doing a session with the band now, you can take some pictures and go, let me see it. Right? And we can actually look and see what it looks like. Like I was just doing some videos here in my studio with a digital camera. And, you know, before we actually shot the whole thing, I shot like 10 seconds and I went back and I looked at it and I go, oh, okay, it looks good. You know, where before you really can't, we couldn't see it, but we depended on Mark and his eye to make sure it was good. You know,
and a Polaroid.
Yeah, and a Polaroid. Yeah, I forgot. We used to use the Polaroids, right?
And yeah, and
I caught her writing. I caught her writing it down. That's
and you had to wait a minute before the Polaroid. Instead of
you had to shake it. You had to shake it.
Yeah, I used to rub it.
Yeah.
Então, o Regis perguntou que a questão agora do surgimento do equipamento digital, que tem muitos músicos, inclusive, que até hoje, mesmo com a evolução tecnológica, eles preferem gravar com equipamentos vintage, analógicos e tal, e com a fotografia. O que aconteceu, então, com o surgimento, né, a popularização das câmeras digitais? E aí o Mark diz, né, que o que aconteceu foi que houve uma espécie de banalização do ofício do fotógrafo. Hoje qualquer um se acha um fotógrafo, aí tá lá num show, todo mundo grava tudo, né, fica fácil de tirar uma foto do artista e tal, porque todo mundo tem acesso, o equipamento também tá na mão da pessoa. Mas isso só torna ainda mais importante o que aconteceu nos anos 80, porque naquela época pouquíssima gente tinha acesso aos bastidores, pouquíssima gente tinha acesso aos shows, né, às sessões de gravação e tal. E aí o que acontecia? Essas fotos acabaram sendo um registro histórico daquele momento, né? Elas são hoje o testemunho de uma época. E aí uma coisa que é muito importante, a fotografia dos anos 80, ela documentou a história. E o Carmine até comenta que hoje, por exemplo, tu vai para uma sessão de fotos, tu como músico, se tu quer ver se tá bom ou não, tu pode dar um palpite ali na hora, mas naquela época tinha que confiar no olhar do Mark, na sensibilidade dele para discutir qual que seria a melhor foto para ser publicada e tal, e que havia essa sensação de confiança. Mas aí o Charlie observa que teve uma época que já tinha as Polaroids, né? Então durante a sessão de fotos tirava uma Polaroid, aí sacudia, tirava um minutinho ali, já podia ver um pouquinho do resultado, mas não o resultado inteiro.
Paulo, hey você tem mais alguma pergunta, Paulo? Que acho que já está dando.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Hi. No. I have to leave. I have to say goodbye now. But thank you guys. I miss all you guys. I cannot wait to come back to South America. I miss it so much.
Charlie, before you go, where are you?
I'm in Chicago.
Chicago. Oh, you live in
Yeah.
Chicago now?
Yeah, freezing.
Uh-huh.
But
I believe so.
But yeah, Scott and I were talking the other day, and as soon as we get the green light, you know, everybody gets the green light to go do shows. The first place we want to come, South America.
Please do it.
You know what's going to be
Yeah.
funny? What's going to be funny about when everybody gets the green light? It's going to be total saturation.
I know, we're gonna go play supermarkets. We're gonna be like going
everybody's
crazy.
everyone's going out to play, and I don't know if there's enough
For sure.
venues.
Yeah, but thank you guys. Good seeing you guys. Mark,
Ciao,
love
bro.
you.
Good to see you.
Take
Thank you so
Bye,
much,
bye,
Charlie.
bye. Thank you, Charlie.
All right, see you
So,
guys
Charlie,
soon.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
regards to your daughter.
O Charlie estava se despedindo e ele comentou que assim que a pandemia der a luzinha verde, ele não vê a hora de voltar aqui para a América do Sul, né? E ele disse que tá todo mundo assim tão louco para fazer show que daqui a pouco eles vão fazer show até em estacionamento de supermercado e coisas assim, né? E aí ele deu um tchau para todo mundo.
Paulo, você tem mais alguma coisa para perguntar, Paulo?
Eu só queria finalizar uma coisa importante. Mark, at these times now, it's so easy. Everybody thinks that needs a photographer because they have a cameras. Okay, maybe you're putting internet and that's it, and you split it. But in your times, in the 80s, probably most of your pictures make all younger people like me, okay, feel it. Then what happens? Okay, because for example, in that time I was living in Spain, Barcelona. I was every month waiting for that magazine, the heavy rock and popular one from Spain, just to see what happens, it was the movement. Do you think that from your side, how are the importance? Obviously, you have the history of everything. You took the history of everything, but how important now is a photographer, a real photographer, a journalist, between or you talking about the behind the years and now for the future?
Well, photographers now, they actually are not just a photographer. I mean, they do the laundry, they do video, they do a little bit of everything, you know, and they're there 24/7. So it's not like, I don't know, it's not like really an exciting job. I mean, back in the day, I would be like part of the band. I would go on when they did, and I wouldn't have to worry about editing videos or photos at the time because I would just put it in the bag and I'd get home and then do it. So I'd have time to have fun and party and hang out with everybody. So it was definitely more fun back then. And I wasn't on these tours 24/7. I would go out with, you know, Ozzy for a couple of weeks, and then Motley, and then Rat. So I'd be bouncing around all over the place. So it was really fun for me. Yeah, today it's like they just get someone from the road crew or someone that they know someone that are probably just as talented as I am. Really, it's just it wasn't as glamorous, I guess, as it is today, as it was yesterday, as it is today. So if you want to be a rock and roll photographer, I don't never discourage. If that's what you want to be, you find your place if you meet the right people, and you get the pictures out, you start a blog and you post, and people like you and they like your vibe, and you could be just like me in 30 years and be talking about the same stories that you'll be experiencing at the time.
O Paulo fez uma pergunta pro Mark, que hoje, como é que é essa história que todo mundo tem uma câmera na mão, né? Todo mundo tem onde postar, é fácil postar, mas na época que o Paulo era jovem, tinha que ficar esperando um mês para chegar a revista, para saber o que estava acontecendo no mundo do rock, né? E o trabalho, então, dos jornalistas daquela época, o trabalho dos fotógrafos profissionais de rock daquela época era importantíssimo, porque eles estavam documentando o que estava acontecendo. Então, hoje, qual é o papel do fotógrafo do rock, o fotógrafo de música, né, nessa circunstância. E aí o Mark observa uma coisa bem interessante, ele diz que hoje o fotógrafo que acompanha os músicos em turnê, nem sempre ele é só fotógrafo, ele é um membro da equipe, ele pode ser um road, ele pode ser alguém que cuida da rouparia, ele acaba tirando as fotos e registrando o backstage, né? Mas ele diz que naquela época era mais glamouroso, porque ele convivia com a banda, tinha mais tempo de sobra para se divertir, para fazer festa, né? E já hoje não, hoje é alguém ali que faz parte da equipe da turnê que acaba tirando as fotos e nem sempre é um trabalho especializado. Mas ele diz que vale sim a pena, se alguém quiser se tornar um fotógrafo de rock hoje, teria que começar um blog, teria que acompanhar as bandas, né, começar a captar a energia do público, né, porque quem tem talento mesmo acaba se destacando. E ele diz que, quem sabe, daqui 30 anos estaremos conversando com uma dessas pessoas que vai começar hoje, como estamos conversando com o Mark agora.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much for this fine interview and talk. We wish health and luck to you. And thank you so much. Really, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. It was fun. Mark, good luck with the book.
Mark, one day, please sign my copy. I have this one.
I will.
Thank you.
I want to come over and whoever wants to, host a gallery, if we want to do a fundraiser, I like to meet the fans and talk to them. And, I like to connect to the fans, and this is my time. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I'm not able to do that. So I'm glad Regis and Paulo, thank you for letting me meet your fans and meet Brazil and the rest of the world through your medium, which is I love your interviews and your history, both of you. And I'm an honor to be part of it. And hopefully we can do this again and again and again until we meet.
I have a question. Did I meet you guys before? Because you guys look so familiar to me. Not you,
Yes.
Mark. Not you, Mark.
Yes, we met before.
Where did we meet?
Many times. In Spain, we met in Brazil.
Okay.
Once in Mexico too.
Okay.
So we met before.
I know your face. I definitely know your face. I know. I don't know Candice's face, but too bad.
You also might have seen Paulo's face in a video with Dee Snider with "Business is a Liar."
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
But they both look so familiar. Regis looks familiar to me as well. Have I met you before?
We talked. I did an interview with you a long time ago when I worked for a drummer magazine called Batera.
Okay.
And we spoke by the phone, and I remember. I remember your phone.
Did they have a picture of you on the article? Because your face looks familiar to me.
No.
It looks familiar because Regis is one of the most famous journalists in Brazil, and
his YouTube channel is huge here.
No, I'm so humble. I'm so humble guy.
You got a
humble guy.
You got a lot of LPs behind you.
Yeah.
You should
my son.
Get me an address. We have a new Cactus album coming out, a double LP.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I also have my 25th anniversary of my Guitar Zeus albums.
Thank you so much.
It's a box set. So
I'm gonna send you an email with our address, okay?
So gentle. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so
thanks so much.
We'll get some addresses. We can get some stuff shipped out to you. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Great.
It's an honor for me. Yeah.
Mark, I'll see you soon, dude.
All right.
You got to give me Charlie's info.
I will.
Bye, Carmine.
Nice to meet you. Candice, where are you at? Where are you, Candice?
I'm in southern Brazil. I live in Argentina.
Yes, you have a nice apartment. It's very, very. It looks very New York, that apartment.
Oh, no, my apartment is very simple, actually, but I love books, and this is my
You got a
bookshelf.
nice stairway, a modern stairway, and it's like
Yeah.
a,
Thank
it
you,
looks like
Carmine.
a New York, it looks like a New York apartment.
No, I'm from Brazil.
Yeah, I'm in South Florida.
Oh,
You know,
Good.
I'm in my studio in my guest house in South Florida. So, okay, guys, thank you
Okay.
so much.
bye-bye, Carmine.
Thank you
Take
so,
care.
thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Bye.
Regis, tu quer
Thank
que eu
you.
traduza a parte do Carmine que ele vai te dar o disco?
Cara,
Eu
assim,
acho
foi
importante,
genial.
né?
Pô,
É.
ele pediu para que eu mandasse o endereço que ele vai me mandar o disco novo
Muito
do
legal.
Cactus em LP. Paulo, vou te cobrar isso, hein?
Então se comporta melhor comigo, viu?
Ei, meu amigo, eu pego leve com você. Mark, thank you so much.
Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Just to advise to all the people that are listening us, we are going to do more interviews and talking with more rock star heroes. So watch out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to calling up my old friends and bringing them on to Regis and Paulo and sharing the stories, because it's they're unique stories. You know, there's a lot of interviews out there that they're talking about their careers or whatnot, but you know, imagery and photography and rock stars, they go hand in hand. And I'm really honored that Regis and Paulo reached out to me in honor of my book to help share those stories beyond the book, because there's not a lot of copy in the book. There's a lot of photos, but not a lot of copy. And our conversations are extension of my book, The Decade That Rocked. So thank you.
O Mark está agradecendo, né? Ele está explicando que essas entrevistas elas acabam sendo uma extensão do livro, né? Porque tem muitas histórias que não aparecem no livro, as questões de bastidores, mas ele tem muitos amigos entre os rockstars, então é para a gente ficar ligado que teremos muitas histórias ainda sobre a década do rock.
Mark, if you had the opportunity to photograph Elvis Presley, John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, and Janis Joplin, what would be your first attitude as a photographer towards each of them?
You want one? Because those are all my ones that would be on my list. Those are everyone you mentioned. They're on my list. But the one, Elvis Presley.
Interesting.
When I was a kid, I was 10 years old. I used to watch his movies, you know, the really funny ones with the beaches and things. And that's how I got introduced to Elvis Presley, and they had their songs. I didn't really know too much about music at the time. I was only like 10, 11 years old. But they had the 4:30 movie in New Jersey, and I used to watch it, and I used to love him with the girls. And he was just the coolest dude, you know? So he was my first rock star, or that I really got to witness. So I guess you could call he's my first. So but Jim, Janis, and you know, Jimmy, those are all like second runner-ups for sure.
O Regis perguntou se o Mark tivesse oportunidade de fotografar uma lenda do rock entre Elvis Presley, John Lennon, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin e Jimi Hendrix, quem seria, né? E aí até o Mark brincar, tu me conhece, porque todos eles estariam na minha lista, mas ele disse que ele faria questão de fotografar o Elvis Presley, porque quando ele era criança, foi o primeiro rockstar que ele conheceu, ele assistiu os filmes do Elvis, que eram bem divertidos, e que ele achava o Elvis a pessoa mais cool, mais legal do mundo, então com certeza seria o Elvis Presley.
Good choice.
Good choice.
Thank you, Mark.
All right.
Thank you, Mark. Bye,
All right.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.